Carrie Morgan was Cassie Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan. She described witnessing Combs assaulting Cassie twice.
Cassie for 17 years, but things went sour after she alleged that Diddy beat her with a wooden coat hanger and she signed an NDA.
Did Diddy lose his cool in court? Everything changed when Cassie's best friend, Carrie Morgan, took the stand.
Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan. She described witnessing Combs assaulting Cassie twice. The first time in a home Combs was renting in the Hollywood Hills. Morgan testified that, quote, "I saw him push her. I'm pretty sure he hit her." The second time allegedly happened in Jamaica. Morgan says they were in the bar area of a home when, quote, "I heard her screaming." She recalled guttural, terrifying screams. Combs faces the possibility of life in prison if convicted. He's pleaded not guilty and has denied all wrongdoing.
The courtroom was filled with quiet chatter and the soft rustle of papers as people got settled, expecting just another routine day. The mood wasn't tense, but there was a certain weight in the air. Diddy sat calmly at the defense table, leaning back slightly while his legal team reviewed their notes, looking confident and in control. Behind the barriers, members of the media murmured to each other, cameras ready for anything newsworthy. Then, unexpectedly, Carrie Morgan walked in. That moment changed everything. Most people hadn't paid much attention to her before. Her name had come up here and there, but no one expected her to play such a major role in the trial.
Carrie Morgan was on the stand. That was Cassie Ventura's former best friend. What did Carrie say happened after that incident?
Cassie Ventura left the Intercontinental Hotel, went back to her apartment, her home, and there was Carrie Morgan waiting. She said immediately she saw the black eye that Ventura had testified Combs gave her after the freak-off got violent, and the whole reason why then the subsequent assault in the hallway happened. And then Carrie Morgan said about a half hour later, Sean Combs starts banging on the door with a hammer. Was not let in, but she said she heard him yelling, finally called some of Combs' staff members to try to get him to leave. Police were called, but Cassie Ventura said, and Carrie Morgan backed this up, that nothing ever came of it because Cassie Ventura refused to say anything about Sean Combs and what happened to her.
Aaron, I have to ask you, because Combs was sitting just feet away from Don Richard and Carrie Morgan in court today. How did he react to seeing them and hearing all of this?
He's been an attentive listener. In some cases, he would shake his head or nod along or consult with his lawyers, scribbling a lot of notes. This was an important part of the testimony because it made a turn, Eva. The jury had heard from Cassie Ventura directly about, in rather explicit terms, a lot of the sex acts. But the prosecution's whole case is that she was coerced into that sex because of the violence, the kind of violence that both Don Richard and Carrie Morgan said they witnessed. Now, the defense says there are other reasons for the violence. Jealousy, drugs, didn't have anything to do with coercing her into sex. But the prosecutors want the jury to hear these accounts to say that Cassie Ventura was not only telling the truth about being beat up, but that she had reason to then go along with Sean Combs' sexual demands.
Carrie Morgan isn't a public figure, but in this case, she's become one of the most important witnesses. As Cassie's best friend, she stepped forward not just to support her, but to share testimony that could change everything. Carrie and Cassie have known each other for years. Their long friendship means Carrie has seen things up close. She's known as calm, careful, and not someone who speaks unless she's sure. That's what makes her appearance in court so powerful. Sources say her testimony is based on what she directly saw or was told during Cassie's relationship with Diddy. While the exact details weren't made public beforehand, reports suggest she described serious patterns of control and abuse. If proven, these claims could strongly impact the case. What really stands out is Carrie's bravery. Taking the stand against someone as famous and powerful as Diddy takes real courage. She's not doing it for attention, she's doing it to stand by her friend and speak the truth. Her testimony caught everyone off guard, and from the reaction in the courtroom, it clearly struck a nerve. Now the big question is, What exactly did she say that left even Diddy shaking?
You already mentioned the second witness today, Cassie Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan. What did Carrie have to say?
So let me tell you, Carrie Morgan is crucial, and she came crucial because she comes off as credible. Because one of the first statements that she made is that she came here because she was compelled to testify. She no longer speaks to Cassie Ventura. They stopped talking in 2018 after this incident having to deal with where she was assaulted by Sean Combs, where Sean Combs grabbed her by the neck and also threw a wooden hanger at her, but also that it led to Cassie giving her $30,000 so she wouldn't say anything about that specific incident, and that was the end of their relationship. She also corroborated two of the assaults that took place, having to deal with Cassie in terms of her being drugged and as well as her being punched. So she corroborated a lot of the testimony, but she came off as a neutral witness, and the defense wasn't able to break her as they wanted to, but was able to say that, look, it was still a loving relationship.
Carrie Morgan's time on the stand wasn't just another part of the trial, it was the moment everything changed. From the second she walked in, the room grew tense. Everyone had been waiting for her, and Diddy, in particular, likely feared what was coming. Once she began speaking, it became clear why her testimony mattered so much. Her words were calm, but the impact was heavy. Carrie described years of troubling behavior she says she witnessed while Cassie was with Diddy. She spoke about control, emotional manipulation, and even incidents of physical harm. She recalled seeing bruises on Cassie multiple times and shared stories of moments where Diddy's anger turned dangerous. But it didn't end there. Carrie also said Diddy tried to isolate Cassie, cutting her off from loved ones and watching her messages to stay in control. Then came the moment that silenced the entire courtroom. Carrie told the court about a night when Cassie called her in fear. She said Diddy's anger had gone too far, and she felt she had to step in. According to Carrie, it was a situation that could have turned even worse if she hadn't intervened. As the details unfolded, the reaction in the room...
And I will say, I think she seemed to say things very matter of fact. There were definitely moments where there was a little bit of what I would call sass, which I didn't think was a bad thing. I think she represented herself very well, and I felt as I read what was being said, she seems like a very credible witness. I think this is going to be one that may stick out in the jury's mind because she was subpoenaed to be here. She is speaking in defense of Cassie, but at the same time, she was also very hurt by Cassie.
Yeah.
And the way that it all came out was very honest. So it's definitely an interesting one to go through.
Yeah, I mean, she's giving a perspective that it feels more like, I don't give a crap about any of these people, so I'm going to give it to you straight. I've moved on from all this, but let's go do it. And not really throwing Cassie under the bus anyway, but
no,
clearly doing it more honestly. So so she made it clear she was only there because of the subpoena, and she confirmed that she and Cassie, who met on a modeling shoot as teenagers, no longer speak because Ventura's boyfriend ate her. Now, was this Agnifilo? The Costco lawyer did end up doing this or not?
Yes, Mark Agnifilo, or as we lovingly call him, the Costco lawyer.
Because it's just funny, because there's this buildup of he's finally going to do something during this trial. It was our first chance to see Costco lawyer step up to the stand, Kim, right? So
we'll get
as
there.
we go through, let's see how he does, yeah?
Yeah. It was fascinating.
There was instant gasps, tension, and even the judge asking the audience to calm down. Diddy's lawyers looked visibly shaken. But it was Diddy's own reaction that stood out most. After Carrie described him as being out of control during one particular incident, he slammed his hand on the table and muttered something loud enough for people to hear. The judge had to stop the trial briefly to restore order. Carrie's words left a lasting impression. And with emotions running high, the big question became, how would Diddy's team respond? Would they confront the claims directly or try to undermine Carrie's credibility? What happened next only added more intensity to a trial already filled with drama. School. Diddy's legal team jumped into action right after Carrie Morgan's powerful testimony. Once court was back in session, they made it clear they were ready to push back hard. Their goal? To cast doubt on Carrie's claims and shake her credibility in front of the jury. During cross-examination, the defense focused on Carrie's close friendship with Cassie. One of Diddy's lawyers even asked if she had always taken Cassie's side, suggesting her loyalty might be clouding her judgment. The idea was to show that Carrie might be too emotionally involved to give an unbiased account. They also tried to pick apart her timeline. At one point, a lawyer asked, "Isn't it true you weren't there for every incident you described?" They were looking for gaps, any sign that her story wasn't solid, but when Carrie stayed calm and stuck to her statements, the defense changed tactics. They started questioning her intentions, hinting that she might have personal reasons for coming forward. One lawyer asked if her relationship with Diddy had ever been positive, suggesting she could have her own agenda. The back and forth became so intense that the judge had to step in more than once.
You two were best friends for 18 years, but now you haven't spoken with her since 2018. That's true. At the danger of being capital obvious, that's a long time. She's moved on. Objection. Why haven't you spoken with her? She did not support me after Sean assaulted me. I try that line at assault. I don't know what that means. Oh, I think it means I set the line at assault. I don't cross the line of assault or whatever. You reached a settlement with Miss Ventura? The money came from Mr. Combs. So this was after, I believe, she was assaulted by Diddy, that that in order to hush her up, Diddy gave her some money, or they settled it, however it is. That's a pattern that seems to be happening with him throughout the decades. So Agnifilo shows Carrie Morgan photos, then asks, "Do you know if Louise Hayes is a self-help author about self-affirmation?" "Yes." "Why did you send him this with words of encouragement?" "I don't remember sending it." "Okay. I want to show you a few more photos. But first, let's talk about the incident where he put his hands on your neck. Were you and Cassie using any drugs at the time?" "No." "What did he say?" "He said, 'Who is she cheating with?'" "You went to an urgent care and not the hospital, right?" Like, she's saying just right as the answer. But you told the prosecutors it was bloody and you went to the hospital. "I don't remember that." "Look at this." And so this is material not shown to the jury. I see that I said that. Now in this, I think it's like now in cross-examination. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. I see that I said that. "Do you remember Mr. Agnifilo asking you about an incident in LA? Objection. Overruled. And he hit her like in Jamaica, arguing. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me go back. So they were doing right here. Agnifilo is Diddy's attorney. That's what I wasn't understanding. So they did the cross. All right. So now this is the prosecutors again asking her questions. They get to come back up. So that's who's asking. That was like, why is Agnifilo asking a question about himself?
To keep things respectful. At one point, the judge reminded Diddy's team, "This court will not tolerate disrespect toward any witness." Still, the defense made their position clear. They were going to challenge everything Carrie said. Some people in the courtroom thought the defense scored points by raising doubts. But others believed Carrie's calm and steady answers only made her look more believable. Now, the big question is whether the jury sees the defense's approach as fair questions or as an effort to intimidate a witness. And that may come down to the next major factor in the trial, the actual evidence Carrie brought with her, and whether it's strong enough to back up her words and shift the direction of the case. School. Carrie Morgan didn't just testify, she brought real evidence. Her words alone made an impact, but what truly shifted the case were the messages, photos, and recordings she shared in court. According to sources, Carrie turned over text messages between her and Cassie, sent during the time Cassie says the abuse took place. In the texts, Cassie reportedly described what was happening in real time, reaching out in fear. Some of those messages were read out loud in court, and people inside said they were difficult to hear. Carrie also submitted photos she says Cassie sent her, images of bruises and injuries that matched the timeline of events. They were shown in court and described as emotional and disturbing, but the most serious evidence came from recordings. In one clip, Diddy was allegedly heard yelling and making threats. While the defense argued the recordings lacked context, many said the tone alone left a strong impression. Some jurors appeared visibly shaken. This testimony and evidence added real weight to Cassie's claims. Carrie's role in the trial is no longer just as a friend, she's become one of the most important witnesses so far, and while the trial isn't over, her words and the proof behind them have clearly changed the course of the case. Appreciate you all for watching, and as always, take care and I'll see you in the next one.